What's up, my nerds? Welcome back. As promised, this is the video where we cut up the power supply. I am a little hesitant to do this just because, this thing works. As far as I know, it's in good shape. Might be a little crusty in there, but yeah. But on the other hand, I'm never going to use this thing again because it's for an older generation computer that has already gotten electronic recycled. So what the hell, I might as well try to get some use out of it. I also don't think this is really going to work. I've talked about this already. I'm not an electrical guy, but this thing maxes out at 500 watts, and I kind of suspect it would have trouble driving just the amp, and I'm going to ask it to drive the amp and 4 speakers. So I suspect I'm going to try to turn this thing on and get very quiet sound, if any at all. Or this thing is going to burst into flames trying to do that. I don't know. If there's any electrical engineers out there, you're probably screaming at your computer screen right now. But, I'm going to keep the fire extinguisher and some water nearby and an easy off switch on the power strip, and those precautions will be taken. Now, in terms of what I actually need to do here, I did look up a tutorial on how to do this, and I might actually try to find a few more videos just to get some more input. I definitely will link the tutorial I saw in the description. The author, claims that he's an electrical engineer, used to, still does dabble in audio equipment. He's a big audio hobbyist, and he's written firmware for devices, so sounds like he knows what he's talking about, is what I'm getting at. But just to break down here, one thing he said was he was going to cut up this main 24 pin connector, and I'm not sure I'm going to do that. So one thing he was vague about, he said get a few. I think he said get a few of the yellow wires. So these are color coded. So you know what kind of voltage runs through what type of wire. So the yellows are what we're interested in. Those are the 12 volt wires. Red, I believe, is 5 volts, and I think orange is 3.3. Black is ground. A few others here, I'm not sure what they are. I'd have to check the pin diagram. Don't know what purple is. I know the green one is the power on, so we're going to have to wire that to ground. Or the power supply won't work. But he said grab a few from the 24 pin connector. There's only 2, so I don't know exactly, if that's going to be enough. I think the whole point of grabbing a few, in quotes, is to make sure there's enough wire to supply the amperage that's needed. That's my guess, because if you look at the speaker wire that normally plugs into the 12 volt port on the amp, it's pretty thick. I don't know my wire gauges, but it's, 5 millimeters thick diameter maybe. Yeah, that's that, half a centimeter. Yeah, that sounds about right. But anyway, so I think rather than actually touch the 12 volt power or the 24 pin connector, I'm going to hijack the 4 pin connectors that supply supplemental power to the motherboard. As you can see, these consist of 2 yellows and 2 grounds. And I'm also going to hijack the 6 pin connector, if I can get it untangled here. Oh my gosh. Come on. Gotcha. Goodness. The 6 pin connector for the supplemental GPU power. This has 3 12 volt wires and 3 grounds. So that will be 3 plus 2 plus 2 is 7 total. I'm hoping that will be enough. If not, I can still grab some on these old school 4 pin power connectors. There's one 12 volt there. The SATA connections have one 12 volt. And of course, if I have to, I can grab the 2 that are on this 24 pin connector. But I'm essentially going to clip those wires, splice them out, wrap them all together, and then jam them into the 12 volt port on the amp, which kind of has a crimper. I'm going to have to try to uncrimp and then recrimp. I'm coming up short on crimpers and soldering irons, so this whole thing is going to be done with wire twisting, and I might try to run by a store. I don't know, would Ace Hardware have something like that? Home Depot? I don't know. And just try to get some wire crimpers. And but there's still one hanging out of the back of my amp that I'm going to try to reuse. But stripping wires is really boring stuff, so I'm gonna cut the camera for that, and I will come back and show you the final result. Okay, fast forward. I got all these wires stripped and bound together. There is definitely an art form to wire stripping. I'm not very good at it. I have this tool. It's not very good, or I just don't really know how to use it all that well, but I kind of got started with the scissors and then used like the smallest, second smallest hole here to kind of finish it off. I definitely left a few frays in the strippings, but hopefully that's a pretty thick looking wire, right? I hope those will be good enough. So let me think. So on my amp, ground is on the left, or no, 12 volts are on the left, ground is on the right. So I pulled these off the amp, these crimpers. I kind of jammed a flathead screwdriver in there to try to expand the hole a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully it's good enough, but I'm going to try to flatten these out now just a bit so they'll fit better. So let's squeeze that one. And squeeze this one. And yeah, that looks pretty good, I think. Tuck that in just a little bit. All right, and this fits right in there. Come on, just a little more. That's probably good enough. It's peeking through just a little bit there. All right, and I think I'm gonna squeeze the hell out of this thing. And then maybe wrap the rest in electrical tape. Although I do need to, or no, I can handle that on the unit. Sorry, I do a lot of thinking out loud. I was thinking I need to short the 12 volt port with the remote port, but I can do that on the unit itself. Okay. All right, electrical engineers, do you think that wire looks thick enough to carry the kind of amps that are needed to power all this stuff? Shoot, you know what? Well, it's kind of squeezing on there. I guess that's good enough. Is that good enough? I like it to just tuck in there a little better, maybe. I feel like I'm just mashing it now. Oh, I'm scared to, you know what? Had to happen. Let me try this again. Flatten it. Ooh, irritating. Tuck. Flatten. Flatten. All right. One more try. Watch, this will be worse than last time. About the same. All right, well, you know, I wonder if I should give this a test run before I really crimp this together. That might be a good idea. I think I'm going to do that. Just in case, I don't know, something didn't work out or I need to add more wires. I don't know how I'll know that, but yeah, I think I'm going to hold off. I was just going to squeeze the hell out of this thing like this, but I think I'm going to hold off on that for now. Just see where we're at here. Oh, that one fits on great. That's perfect. I wish this one was doing that on this side. But again, I think I'm going to hold off on really just chomping down on that for now. Yeah. It's getting kind of late. I'm going to punt for today. Pick this back up tomorrow. Hopefully I'll get some speakers wired up tomorrow. I did get my electrical components in. I'll show those in the next video. Yeah, plus I got to prep my, fire extinguisher and water. I don't know if my amp has any visual indicators that it's actually powered on and working. But I'm wondering if I will try to just turn it on with this, of course, and see if I see any lights. Hopefully I'll see some kind of indication, maybe even an error code if it's not getting enough power, you know, something. I think that they have lights for those kinds of things. But all right, until then, stay tuned. Hopefully we'll see some more action in the next one.